Hey, what's good, everyone? Welcome to the Next Block, episode 98. This is our first doubleheader episode. We're going to be focused on the base ecosystem right now. So we have two good guests. The first one up is Apex. So we'll bring him on in a moment and talk about OnChainDinos, Dino Poker, and a lot more. How you doing, Crypto for Change?
Doing good, doing good. Obviously, if you've been following our channel the past couple months, I've been talking especially more and more about
Yes.
the base ecosystem. I've been diving in, trying to find some gems, trying to find some not only developers who are building some cool stuff, but also some projects I like. And I'm going to continue reaching out throughout this ecosystem to try to bring some of these developers on just as the year continues, because I think we are looking at one of the biggest bull markets coming for the crypto just world blockchain ecosystem. And I honestly think base is going to be one of the biggest. And I take that just from seeing what Binance did with Binance Smart Chain, looking at Coinbase and what they're going to do, I would assume, with the base layer 2 on Ethereum. And as we were talking with Apex before the show, there's a lot to be bullish about on base. So I'm excited to have that discussion, excited to see what they're building and to show, the Algorand community and a lot of our followers, what's cooking over there. So super excited and excited to chat it up.
Yeah, definitely. So Algo fam, Soul fam, all the other fams out there, make sure y'all pay attention to this. Base with Coinbase, of course, is the #1 exchange, I believe now, or at least close to Binance. And I think that's really good for the ecosystem. So without further ado, we're going to bring Apex on the show.
What's going on, Apex?
Hi guys, how are you? Thanks for the intro. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So
Delighted to be
obviously,
here.
yeah. Thanks for coming on. And Apex is the main developer and the creator behind the OnChainDinos NFT project, and also the RAWR token, which is another project that is kind of obviously I'll let him dive into the details on it. But obviously, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into the Web3 space and obviously wanting to build on base.
Yeah, perfect. So I suppose what I've been in crypto probably since like 2017, and first started to hear about it. Like I'm a gamer, love a bit of Call of Duty on a PC, and I'm just I was trying to buy a graphics card, and I was wondering why they were so expensive. And then the penny dropped, and I was like, okay, people are mining these like imaginary internet coins with them. What is this about? Like, so then I went from like not knowing anything about it to having like 8 GPUs set up in my office and mining ETH, and then since then sort of just got stuck into it and stuck around. Then the boom and bust of what was my first bull run was a bit heartbreaking, but then kind of got back into it like in 2020 during the DeFi summer that happened on Ethereum, and I've been around ever since then. Toyed with like some small builds and some other layer 2s like Polygon, but nothing really that stuck or nothing that was of any real greatness or importance, I suppose. And then just wanted to get involved in becoming like a builder in the Web3 space, and at around the time, it was August, it was the L2 for base came out, Coinbase L2, and I was like, right, this is a good move here. Like, this is a space that is backed by a big name like Coinbase, and I was like, I need to get in here and get involved. Like, so then started toying around with some stuff, built a couple of cool collections that had a bit of success and got my name out. And it was like basically like a punk derivative that was on chain as well. But then I was like, right, I want to do something that is probably a bit different, that isn't like done on every single chain that comes out. There's some sort of punk project. So like went down the road at looking at trying to find some art, because I'm not an artist. I'm definitely more developer first than an artist. And I was like, okay, right, so let me see what I can find here. So came across or have been a holder of the Tiny Dinos for a long time. So they're where the art comes from and where it's inspired from. So they're a collection that minted out on Ethereum back in like 2021. And the great thing about Tiny Dinos is their art is CCO. So it's like basically like no creative license on it. You can do whatever you want. You can reproduce it. You can sell it. You can move on. You don't run into the issues that you do when you do this with other types of art. And they're really supportive of like people, making derivatives of the collection, and spreading basically the dino love and the really cool art that they have. So had a look and I was like, look, there's a bunch of different collections on base, but there's nothing really representing like, dinosaurs. And I think they're really, really cool. And my daughter loves them as well. Like, so I was like, right. And she's seen the pictures of the tiny dinos I have as well. So I was like, look, I'll go with this. But I didn't want to just, copy and paste the collection over and go to it by then. I was like, I don't have issues with derivatives, but I think you should add something to it, add some sort of value. And because base is like, they've really pushed what they call their on-chain summer. And I was like, right, so the probably most obvious thing here is to get these NFTs completely on-chain. So that's what I did. Spent a couple of weeks breaking down the traits and the art step by step and storing it on-chain. Are you guys familiar with like the difference between on-chain stuff versus...
I was about to say, go in depth on that and let us know, like, what does that mean, the difference between the tiny dinos and the on-chain dinos? Yeah.
So, but like, let's just use like, collection everyone knows, like the Board Yacht 8 Club, right? So you have a token, right, on the Ethereum network, but your images and your metadata aren't stored there. They're stored in what people use as an IPFS server. It's basically a web server somewhere. IPFS is a little bit more bulletproof than HTTP, but at the end of the day, it isn't on chain. So all your token has is what you call the URI, or a link off to go and get the metadata.
Link, right?
Yeah, that's it, like a pointer link. That's all it is, right? And like, I've always been a believer, like if you're going to be on chain, if you're going to be minting stuff, you want to have the asset completely on chain. And this is what Base allows you to do with how cheap the fees are. It allows me as a developer to store this sort of information relatively cheaply. And the way I've done this, or the way you have done this, is basically, are you able to share screen? Maybe
which one you want me to share first?
Tell you what, let's open up the collection first, right? Let's scroll down a bit, yeah.
Okay.
So here's your dinos basically, right? So you've got they have I think 7 different traits: your heads, eyes, legs, feet, all the kind of fun stuff, right? And if you want to jump into, see the link I posted last, the Medium article. Yeah, perfect. Right, scroll down a bit here. Maybe we can dig into this. I've been on Spaces doing this, but it's much better being able to show it in person. So keep heading down there. I'll tell you when. Yeah. We'll just go with the flow here, really. Keep going. Yeah. And we'll get down to like the good stuff. Here we go. On chain. Yeah. Keep going down here a little bit more. Here you go. Stop there. Right. So that's what your standard NFT looks like. It's a link that points to a JSON file, and this is where your metadata stores. That's an example of the Tiny Dino one, right? So, but if you're to look at mine, for example, so if you scroll down a little bit here, mine is actually built of a bunch of code essentially. So
wow.
So in the actual EVM, the blockchain itself is creating what you see in the previous screenshot there in real time. Yeah. So how you do that, right? So if you scroll down a little bit more, right. So you got your traits here, like any typical collection. You've got all your different layers, right? So if you scroll down a bit more here, So what you have here, right? This is probably the meat of it here. What I did was that you're familiar with like a PNG file of an image, right? So that is essentially pixels and whatever else. But you have something called an SVG image. So you can only store an SVG on the blockchain. You can't store raw PNG files.
Oh, SVG is for like websites and all that as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So the beauty behind an SVG is that you can and why it's used on websites a lot is because it can be scaled to any size and the quality is not affected. And this is because what the image actually is code. So it's just saying, put this pixel here, put that pixel there.
Oh, wow.
It's not really blowing the image any bigger. So what I did then was I built the dinos into what you call like a pattern. And you basically have a bunch of rects, they're called, like rectangle. And it basically says, you can see here, like X and Y coordinates, and you've got like your height and your width. And what this is basically saying is, in this position, put a yellow dot. In the position below, for this example, put a yellow dot that's slightly different of a gradient, and so on and so on. So this here built me a pattern of how I could store this on chain. Because you can see here, it looks pretty similar. So what I did was pull out of this. If you scroll down a little bit more, we'll probably see it. Yeah, here you go. So you see what the pattern is here. So what I did, right, not to go on about this too long, but what I did then is turn this into it's called a byte array. Like it's basically something that's EVM compatible, and it allows me to store that line there on the blockchain. And then what we do is that when your token ID comes up, it goes and finds what is the color needed, what is the body shape needed, what is the eyes needed, the hat needed, and so on, and generates it in real time on the blockchain.
Yeah, this is next level.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I didn't invent this, it's definitely been done before by other people, but I suppose I sandwiched a couple of different things here together. And what this allowed me to do is, like, you probably know, like in most NFT collections, it might be I haven't looked this hard. Scroll a bit further down, you might see it. What it allowed me to do, right? So here's an example of how it's stored. So you've got like your feet data. So this is like the first one is like having no feet, so there's nothing to show. The next one's on a skateboard. The next one on a hoverboard. Rocket boot, skateboard, and so on, right?
Skateboard, yep.
And what this allowed me to do is allow me to, instead of, I didn't decide what number 1 looked like, or number 2 or number 3. I let the blockchain determine it. So I grabbed a random number at the time of minting, and it basically said, generate a random dino completely and pick a bunch of different traits, and let's come up and see what they look like. So when, let's say, you came along with your Ethereum wallet, I grabbed your wallet, turned it into a random number, and then when you minted it, you might have picked, you got a random number between 1 and 100, let's say. You got the number 27. So if you look at the feet probability here, you got 27, so you don't get it. You get normal feet. But let's say Crypto for Change comes along and he got a random number of 99. So he's after getting skateboard, for example. So it's built randomly, and this probability here is called weighted randomness. So it allowed me then to, instead of, if you just mint 2000, you'd have an even amount of all the traits just based on RNG and randomness. But I built out this kind of like weighted system. So it allowed us to have like pretty rare traits. So if you want to go back to maybe the OpenSea page, we can have a look at some of what I suppose the rarer traits in the collection.
Yeah, definitely. One of my favorite traits has been the gradient. Obviously, just the skin.
Gradient's pretty cool.
I love the gradient, and I love it if they have the wide eyes. That's
Oh, the visor.
Right.
Yeah. So if you go see where it says search by name or trait, just go in, just drop in there and type in gradient, and you'll get a bunch of them. Yeah, you just click any of these. Like go for gray space is pretty cool, or blue. Yeah.
Okay.
So their body color sort of changes along. It's not a solid color, let's say. So then so like people have really been picking up some pretty cool ones. And the best part about it is that I had no idea what was going to come out. But I had an idea of the numbers. So the rarest trait is rainbow. So if you want to type in rainbow at the top, you'll come across it. I mean, there's only, I think, 36 of them. So they were like, you had basically a very limited probability of minting them.
2%. Yeah.
2%. Yeah. So there's one rainbow there. The second one's a rainbow. So he has. So they're pretty rare. So yeah, that's kind of the collection. That's the build of it, how it is. What makes it a bit different, I suppose, is that like it was like a bit of a technical build. Brought them on chain. Wasn't just throwing a bunch of images into an IPFS server and minting something out. I wanted to add something on to this. Really, what is the cool art? There's mine. There's me. There's my one. So that was one thing I was able to do. So when the contract deployed, I had predetermined mine. So I was able to choose mine. So I spent some time picking what I want. I was like, okay, I want rainbow spikes. I want a rainbow body. And I want like a white belly. And I want like a bandana mask across the front. Like, so I was allowed to do that though. But other than that, everyone else got random ones. So that's
still pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Like it was very, very good to see. So the base ecosystem at the moment, like is really popping off. Like it's as we were discussing backstage, like as the ETH gas prices go up, like you're gonna have people like me, and I don't mean to offend any viewers, we're just more focused on Ethereum. And I wouldn't be thinking personally, I don't really dabble in other altcoins, not because I don't want to or have anything against them. I just kind of found my home, let's say, on ETH. And for me as well, like I have coins stuck on L1, and like I'm not paying $100 to move stuff. I've got NFTs there too. Like I'm not paying $150 to move them. So I think you're going to see a big influx of people moving to these L2s. Like I think we're pretty confirmed we're in the bull run now, but it's only going to go higher and higher, these gas prices. And I think base as an ecosystem has really like taken off, and is a great place, I suppose, for builders. It's a great place for people who want to jump on chain and not be scared to do a transaction because they might lose $100 worth of gas. you know, and they can still use all their favorite dApps that they're familiar with, you know, Uniswap, Aave, OpenSea, and whatever else, and just get on chain and start trying things.
Yeah, I've definitely, you know, for someone who I was primarily in an altcoin, you know, Algorand, and that's what, you know, we built our show around was, you know, teaching people about the Algorand ecosystem, because at the time when, you know, there wasn't really base, or there wasn't a lot on it. There wasn't a lot on Optimism or Arbitrum. I mean, Polygon was kind of there, but it was still kind of, you know, expensive and new, and there was a lot going on. But you know, it's been a heck of a whirlwind diving into another ecosystem like Base and seeing, you know, some of the good things about it that it's doing, that I think even Algorand could adopt some of the things. And it's kind of funny because there's actually a decent size of the community within Algorand who would like to move the governance rewards and the money that gets sent to builders and through grants to the similar way that Optimism and Base are doing it with the retrograde and whatnot. And honestly, do you have it? You know, I know you were actually a recipient of some Base grants as well as some OP grants, Optimism grants. Do you want to speak on that and say, like,
of course,
what is that process like? I mean, did you have to put your name, like, because we actually just did one for the Algorand ecosystem, but we had to do a whole proposal, and it had to go get voted on by XGovs, which are the pretty much a you know, decentralized governance format on Algorand. But like, what does that process look like for you being a builder on Base?
Yeah, so Base is doing that, and it's doing it really well. Like, so it's very open, saying there's builder grants available for people. If you've built something cool, apply for a grant, and you've got grants between 1 to 5 ETH. And for my build of the OnChainDinos, I was awarded a 1 ETH grant, which is just amazing, like, to see, you know, that they're giving back to people. The process is pretty simple. Like, well, it was from my side. I was pretty lucky. My mint was picked up by the Base main Twitter page. They tweeted about it during mint, so it kind of got massive exposure. Like, I think within, like, I had a good, pretty strong following before the mint of OnChainDinos, just from being on Base. So I think we went live at like 12 o'clock, and, you know, by I think 5 p.m. we had like 700 mints out of the 2,000. So it was going okay. It was going in the right direction. But then Base tweeted about it at 5 o'clock, and we sold out in like 45 minutes. Like, so it completely blew up. Then, yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. Like, they minted for like $5 at a time.
Yeah, that's the power of Coinbase and the power of Base. And that's why it still blows my mind that people are fading Base and fading the projects, because, like, you do
they're
realize
sharing the projects, you know, they're behind, they're on the ground with people, with the builders.
Jesse
they're happy to share them.
Been like, it's fun watching his videos and seeing his enthusiasm in the Base ecosystem, especially if you're on Warpcast, and just seeing, you know, how much he's active on that social media platform, trying to help the frames and all the people, all the developers that are over there. So yeah, it's a no-brainer, like, in my opinion.
He's non-stop. Like, you know, he's involved in it. He's always available for a chat. He's always available to help you with stuff. Base ecosystem, all their employees, all the foundation are so on board with helping you, and that's what I love about it. Like, you know, I mean, when's the last time you've seen a chain share a mint? You know, that, and it's not just my mint. They share, you know, every day they have something called On-Chain Daily, and they kind of share what's happening on Base. Like, and it's just really cool to see them push builders, push people forward, and really just get behind them. Like, it's really, really cool to see. Yeah. Delighted to be building on Base. Delighted to have got the grant, and then obviously the Optimism airdrop as well was this round was for NFT builders as well. So it was awarded some of those tokens too. Like, so it's been a crazy, like, 8 weeks since I've launched the Dinos. Like, it's been crazy. Like, loving it. Really enjoying building on Base.
Let's dive in a little bit too and talk about the RAWR token, because obviously you have the OnChainDinos. Oh, and one thing I don't want to gloss over the fact, if you want to mention it, that with the OnChainDinos, so if you are someone who buys one, they do have eggs. And do you want to explain a little bit real quick on what those are?
Yeah. So how will I start this? Right. So, do you know the way I said that the dinos were generated randomly? Yeah.
Right.
So there's this thing called the birthday paradox, right? So if you have, I think it's 21 people in a room, you have a 50% chance of their birthdays being the same, with that low of a number. Yeah. So I know it's kind of weird, like, because when I was doing my testing, I would mint 2,000 dinos, and I'd get duplicates. I'm like, why am I getting duplicates? I had a pool of 33 million traits that I could have picked from. 33 million different dinosaurs could have came out based on the traits I had. And I kept getting these duplicates. And I'm like, why am I getting duplicates? And I came across this birthday paradox. And basically what it is you're not just comparing 1 to 1, you're comparing 1 to the other 20 people 20 times. So you're bound to get a duplicate very quickly. So I was like, right, I don't want to have duplicate images. And we did end up with duplicates, but I was like, I don't want to end up with complete duplicates because OpenSea kind of shows them weirdly. And it might say that there's 2 in the collection and not unique. So I added this additional trait called dino eggs, and basically I randomly assigned a value between 0 and 999, sorry, 1 and 999 dino eggs. And this kind of blew up like more than I thought it would. Everyone was like, what are these eggs? So if you go into your traits on OpenSea, you'll see that some dinos have like 10 eggs, some have 900 eggs. And I was like, right, what am I going to do with this? Like, let's build something cool. And just around the same time, are you guys familiar with ERC404? It's the kind of NFT /
No, break that down.
Yeah, perfect. So this it's not an official standard, but basically I think it's called Pandora came out with it first. It basically allows you to have an NFT represented as also an ERC20 token. So what this allows the builders to do is to create a Uniswap pool where you put in all the tokens, and as you buy it and you end up with 1 full token, automatically NFT is minted. So if you buy, let's say Seawheel buys 0.5, he's going to have 0.5 of the token, but he won't get the NFT. Let's say Crypto for Change buys 1, you're going to end up with 1 token, but also it'll be reflected as an NFT. Yeah. So I was like, this was at the time I was like, right, I want to do something with the eggs. I was like, right, what's the cool mechanic behind this? And to me, it was the fact that you can re-roll your NFT, you can swap it back and forth in the pool, and you'll get a different NFT available each time. And so you'll have, let's say you've got 5,000 and 3,000 are currently turned into NFTs. There's a pool of 2,000 left that you get randomly assigned. So it's called basically, people have framed it as re-rolling, or framed it as like reminting basically, or burning your NFT. And the biggest thing that stuck out to me was like cards. If you ever play poker, you ever play blackjack, you're burning your cards to get new ones. And I was like, right, this has like this is the mechanics to be able to build some sort of cool. Poker's the wrong word. I wish I didn't call it poker because people think I'm building some sort of massive poker application, but it's more like it's like dino cards, let's say, and it gives us the ability to have a bunch of different cards or playing cards.
Pull the cards up on the screen here.
Yeah. Might make a bit more sense.
He's talking. Yeah. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. So what I did, right, is I created. So we used 54 card deck. So you've got your full decks plus 2 jokers, and 54 cards isn't a lot. So I made 100 decks. So you've got 100 decks, and the decks again are randomly generated. And what makes you've got your suits here is actually a good screenshot because you see all 4 colors. You've got your hearts, diamonds, spades, and so on here with your 4 color deck. But if you look at the dinos' bellies and their eyes, they're all different. So that indicates if you click into them, and maybe we can go down to their traits, that indicates what deck number they came from.
So and how many decks are there? I think there's like, 200 decks?
100 decks.
100 decks, yeah.
Yeah, so if you scroll down here, and you go down to traits, you see here. So this is, their deck 20, card number 4, suit of hearts. And this kind of gives you your cards. So what I'm doing and what I'm launching this week is... and it's taken me longer than I would have hoped because I'm more of a back-end developer. The contract and all is done, but I struggle with front-end stuff. But I needed something to kind of push me to get into front-end stuff. So what I'm building here, or what I'm hoping to have ready in the next few days, is essentially 5 random cards will appear on my DApp, and if you hold any of these cards, you get to claim some RAWR tokens, and these cards will change over time. I'm still tweaking the bits about it, but and I'm trying to make it gasless. So like there isn't a transaction involved. I don't have to change the cards. It changes automatically. So what it's looking like is that the 5 cards will change based on either a swap in the Uniswap pool or else after a certain set, maybe an hour or 2. So the idea is that like you just you keep your eye on this, and if you have a matching card, you're going to be able to claim some RAWR tokens.
So would it be say it's 5 cards across the screen. So you're saying you'd be able to claim if you just have one of them, or do you have to have all 5 of them?
So if you have one of them, but you have to have that actual card, for example, not just one of the decks. You would have to have one of the cards. So that's why I'm trying to come up with, like, I need it to change quicker, because it's at the moment it's a 1 in 5,400 chance. But if there's 5 cards, that brings it down to 1 in 1,000 chance. But if they're changing, every couple of minutes, or they're changing quite, there's a chance you're going to get something, basically. This is the cool Joker we built. I thought we just used the rainbow dino, so you can see some of them are different. Like the king one has a crown, the queen has a crown, the ace has the laser eyes, because ace kills every card when it comes to poker. Like, so yeah, it was just a fun project, and we airdropped a lot of the RAWR tokens to dino holders, and based on their egg count. So that boxed off the eggs as well as something as well. So it's definitely like I don't want to say, the secondary part. The main collection is the OnChainDinos, and that's kind of, it's become like, let's say, it looks like the original Macintosh logo. It does actually, yeah. That's good. I've never thought about that, but it does. But yeah, but it's,
you heard it here.
Like,
RAWR is the next Apple.
Yeah.
Here we go. But yeah, it's definitely blown up. Like our token launch was definitely a bit botted. Like within like they launched at, like, I think $1, and like they shot up to $170 within like 20 minutes. And of course, unfortunately, that went down to $8. But we're now back up to about 100 and
I think it's at 107, 110.
107, yeah. So we were finding a good floor. People are back in it. Like, I think a lot of the bots who were in at the start have moved on, and I think people are excited to see, to kind of do something with them. And this is why I thought it'd be pretty cool to have your burn and remint, because you're like, no, maybe I don't like these cards. You see some cards that are up there, and maybe you're like, well, maybe I'll see if I go back to the pool and see if I can grab something like that. And again, I'm kind of a builder who does stuff incrementally. I'm like, let's build on top of it. Like, and I'm not big into, here's the roadmap, we're going to go here, you're going to end up with merch and all this kind of stuff. I'm more like, look, just, let's just see what we can do. If it works, it works. If it doesn't,
I'll say this.
change it.
Builders, make sure y'all paying attention to this episode. This is fascinating. Never heard of a type of NFT project like this. So make sure y'all download a base wallet and get ready for this airdrop as well.
Yeah. And the cool thing about it too with the RAWR token is the fact that, like, because it is an NFT and a token, if you do have a complete one, like, I think maybe 5 or 6 of the Jokers, and obviously since they would be more rare in the deck, you could actually go and list that on OpenSea, so that, and charge a higher price than the floor is currently in the Uniswap pool or wherever you're trading. But if you're also like, what, I need the liquidity, you can get out of it, right? And that, to me, that right there, when I saw the mechanics behind this, I was like, dang, I really hope Algorand or just other chains get behind this idea, because that is the one crutch I think that most NFTs suffer with, is the fact that you get the bag holders, and you get the people who are stuck.
You might all of a sudden, if you end up with like 2 or 3 people who have a lot of supply, and at the same time they want to leave, what they do, list at the floor, they undercut each other, floor comes down. Maybe it's a weekend, maybe it's quiet, and all of a sudden the floor price has gone down. Where if you have this constant liquidity pool, we have 30 ETH in our liquidity pool at the moment. You can always leave. You can always sell your tokens. That's you can always leave. You don't have to go and affect the floor price, I suppose. And it is a really cool mechanic. I would really like to see it become a standard. It's not a approved standard yet, this 404. But I think it will be. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And
that's the 2 projects, I suppose. I'm conscious of taking up the time of the next guest, but like, tell me to stop. It's up to you guys.
No. You're doing totally fine. Obviously, we're going to give away a RAWR token before you head out. I got the wheel of names with everybody who's been putting in a comment in the chat. So also, if
let's
drop
do that
a comment
now.
Real quick if you want to get put in. But we do have another guest coming up after this. Charlie, he's backstage right now. He's going to be coming in from the Farmons, team that is building over on base. The one other thing I would, ask you about is, right now, if you're in base, or you're curious about it, what are you seeing out there that you think is, good projects to look at, maybe outside even just your own, or things you're excited about on base, with base, or even just if there's a developer watching this, what would, any advice you'd give them?
I think, a couple of points to cover off there. I'd say if you're a developer who wants to get on base, just get on base and build something and just start experimenting. Like it's very open. I'm happy. Like I've had 2 or 3 people, I've helped people build stuff. If you want to build something, get in touch with me. I'm very helpful I'm very down to help you and willing to work with you. I think if you want to just come on to base as more of a participant, jump in, pick up some NFTs. If mine's too expensive, another great collection, really super cool guys, is the Base fellas. The really cool guys. Like, they're building a lot of stuff. They're having like a whole staking mechanism come out. And really got to know them guys over the last couple of months. Like that's the big thing about the Base community. Like, is that like all the builders are real tight knit. Like we haven't got to that stage yet. I've built on other layer 2s, and it's not like every man for himself. Like everyone's sharing everybody's mint when they come out. Like, so like they pushed my RAWR token when it came out. They pushed the dinos for me. I'm going to push their mint of their homes feature that they're coming out. Like everyone's helping each other build, and we haven't, and I hope we never do get to that stage where it's like, no, pick this project, not mine. Like
right.
Because I hate that. Like, so, and I think if another good, like, I'm trying to box off. So you got NFTs covered there. I mean, if you're into meme coins, there's a million of them on Base at the
I know
moment.
they're popping up left and right.
I faded, right, and center.
I faded
did you fade Brett as well, did you?
I know. I faded Dog in Me. We even bought like $200 worth,
yes.
and I sold it way too early. And if I'd have held it to this morning, it'd have been like 3,000. So I'm a little salty.
Man,
I sold that little bag,
like,
but yeah, they're popping up like Solana.
Like, obviously now that I have a token, I'm spending a bit more time looking at Deck Screener and stuff like this. Like, I'm not a massive
Right.
token guy, but now I'm like, what's this? Like, and I'm like,
Right.
I can't just buy everything that comes up. But like, another great one is Moki. He's an Irish developer too, so I'll plug him. They do some cool stuff. They have a really cool NFT collection as well.
Yep. Toshi.
If you're into more
Toshi
too.
Toshi, Mochi, both of them. I think those are definitely 2 memes that
two
will stand
of the
out.
cats that are like playing off on Brian Armstrong has cats that have those names that are playing off that. So really good meme coin there. You got the Base God as well. Their memes are just incredible. And then if you're more looking at, let's say, no, I don't want to say more grown up stuff, but like if you're looking at like Aerodrome is a pretty cool protocol that launched. Like, and they're giving some sick LP rewards at the moment. Like, so I LP'd some. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just about to ask you. I saw there were some like Toshi. I think just partnered with Aerodrome. I'm a huge. I'm a bag holder of Aerodrome as well, and I think I'm excited for that and Velodrome and that whole new kind of way that they're doing DeFi and liquidity over there. Is it possible with the ERC404 to actually to get into their bribing system with like the RAWR token?
Yeah, so they do support 404, and it's something that I'm putting a proposal for to see if we can apply. I don't know if they'll accept what is an NFT into it. It is more of a coin-based thing, but I'll give it a shot. You need 10K of liquidity. We've got that covered. We've got like 100K, but it would involve then like our liquidity is smart contract locked for, and I have to give 30-day notice on it. So it would involve me having to move that too, which scares a lot of people. I'm pretty like. I'm a pretty known builder in the space, but even for, it does scare people. So if we can get liquidity up maybe and build a second pool and move it over slowly, it's something maybe we can look at. But yeah, it's definitely, there's a guy who I have a couple of, I don't want to say team members, but we have a role called Dinologists, and like people who've helped me along the way, basically. Like, we've got a chat with them, and one of the guys, player 1, is helping to push it too. Like, so I think we'll at least apply and see how it goes, and take it from there.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you.
Let's go ahead. Yeah,
let's
for
set
sure.
the giveaway, and then
if you want, you can share. I can share my screen just that I have it.
Hold
Give
on.
me 1 second.
And then we'll bring our next guest on the show in a moment. You got it? You ready?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, boom.
All right. So if you've been in the chat, you put a comment, you're in the name, or you're in the drawing for 1 RAWR token, which, like I say, it's currently a little over $100. So let's see who wins. And shout out to everybody in the audience who joined. Looks like it is. Close one. Adam kind of swung in there late. So
just about,
yes, shoot us a DM on Twitter, or
let me pull up the next block.
Yeah. You can find us on Twitter, obviously on YouTube. All of our contact info is there. All we'll need from you, Adam, is a wallet address. You can even drop that.
So Adam, there you are.
There you go.
Yeah,
you can drop your wallet address in the if the chat will let you. I know sometimes the StreamYard blocks random numbers and stuff because it thinks it's spam, but if you want to drop that in here, get that to us, we will make sure we get you a RAWR token. just make
send
sure
us
it
the
can.
DM or let us know your Twitter address, and then we'll find you.
Yep. But with that, Apex, thanks so much, man, for joining the show. Obviously, I know you got a lot coming out here in the coming weeks with the actual, page and developer website for the ability to re-roll the token and the game that'll be played with the RAWR tokens and everything. And I'm sure you have a lot more planned for the OnChainDinos. So we'll probably have to have you back on, later this year to see how your project is going.
Definitely.
Yeah,
thanks for having me. Really, really enjoyed it. I wish we had more time to dive deeper, but it was really, really cool. And thanks a lot, guys.
I think something we're going to do here in the coming weeks is have another like base roundtable type episode where I'm going to try to invite like a couple different projects from the base community. So we'll probably keep your name in that list.
So Crypto for Change, Adam did put his wallet there as well.
Yep. We'll make sure you
Apex,
get that.
again, thank you. We appreciate you. We're going to pull you off the screen and have a good rest of your day.
See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
See you.
All right, y'all. So give us a moment here. Look at this setup. Make sure y'all pay attention to what we have coming on next. Our ad break. So big shout out to our sponsors, NFDs, Exit Market, Gora, and Lofty, which we also have a giveaway going. We'll show you at the end of the show. But check out this ad.
All right.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Big shout out to Apex over there. Get you a base wallet. Shout out to our giveaway winner. And we want to also show you our other giveaway that is going on right now. So we're going to pull this on the screen. We're giving away 300 algo. All you have to do is follow the steps to join, purchase a Lofty property by using our link, and you will get extra reward from Lofty. And then if you already have a property, make sure that you just post it under that link to participate in this giveaway. It's a nice
and if you're maybe new to the show or new to Algorand, you don't know what this is. Lofty AI is tokenized real estate, so you can actually buy pieces, fractionalized tokens of property, real world assets on the Algorand blockchain, and you earn rent daily. So every day, rent gets paid out to the holders of those tokens. So it's a really neat way to diversify your portfolio, especially if you're interested in real estate, but maybe you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to go, buy a whole property yourself. You can actually own fractionalized real estate. So like I said, head over to our Twitter, join that giveaway, and a shot at winning 300 algo.
Okay. And then up next we have Charlie from FarWorld.
Farmon. Well, yeah, it is FarWorld. Yeah, you're right. I'm saying Farmon because that's what they're called. That's what the monsters are, but it is FarWorld.
I'm gonna bring Charlie on. Let's give Charlie a big welcome to the show.
Fellas, how's it going, guys?
Good, man. How are you?
Good.
Doing great. How's my mic? Is everything okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, sweet. How you guys doing? Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
I know you were just at ETH Denver. How was that? What was the vibes there?
It was fun, man. I've been going to ETH Denver since the first one. I used to be based in Denver. I live in LA now, but I used to work at an exchange called Shapeshift back in the day, which was kind of like the original DEX for people who don't know what it was. And it was run by a guy named Eric Voorhees, who's like a very prominent Bitcoin figure. And so a couple of people that worked at Shapeshift ended up being some of the guys who ended up starting ETH Denver. So I've been going since the beginning when it was just a bunch of sweaty developers in like a little warehouse. And so it's very cool to see how big of a conference it is now, where it's super official. There's, they got the stages, they got the vendors, they got the sponsors. It's just pretty unreal. And, but the vibes were cool. I mean, I think it's gotten so big to the point where it feels like the side events are really like where a lot of magic is, where it feels like there's always a cool company and a new thing. And there's just so much energy right now. And especially like being right on the edge of like what everyone feels like is a bull market, which is like pretty funny to say that like we're just getting to a bull market, even though crypto is up like 100% last year. But like,
I mean, Bitcoin's literally like more than double, like literally touching its all-time high. Yeah. And I saw a tweet today that was showing, there's like 2 billion worth of shorts that will get wrecked if Bitcoin goes to 70K, and then another 2 billion worth of longs will get wrecked if Bitcoin goes to like I don't know, I think it was like 64 or 62 or 61K. So it's like we're definitely teetering there, and after Bitcoin runs, Ethereum normally runs. So, and it has been. I mean, Ethereum's almost touching new all-time highs, and then you look even further and you got layer twos like Optimism, Base, Arbitrum, it just seems like everywhere is popping, especially when it's memes, and all that stuff going too.
Yeah, the meme coin season. I think you guys were just talking about it before. It's nuts, but it's really fun to be in the space right now. ETH Denver was awesome. It was really fun. I mean, I got to be on a couple panels, and I'm already getting really pigeonholed as like this like Farcaster maxi, which I really love because I'm absolutely obsessed with Farcaster and frames, and that's a lot of where FarWorld is being built on. Like, we really want to be like pushing the edge of like what is possible through frames and frame gaming is a lot of what we're working on, and so that's probably what we'll get into more here later. But yeah, so it was cool. It definitely feels like the new hot thing is definitely Farcaster. It felt like that's what a lot of people wanted to talk about and were very interested in. Other than like the general sentiment being very positive, that was definitely like the hot topic over the course of it. So it was fun to be in a seat where I felt like I had a lot to say.
Yeah, okay, for sure.
So for our audience here, can you break down Farcaster, and let's start there, then go into FarWorld? I do have your website pulled up, cool. So anytime I can get that going. But yeah, just give them a nice overview and breakdown.
Yeah, of course. So Farcaster is just a decentralized social network. And so it's an idea I've been really bullish on for a long time, which is like, as content creators and as builders and as people that spend a lot of our time on social media, we take for granted the fact that we don't own anything. Your participation in that network is a gift. Like, they can be taken away at any moment in time. And my previous company was a company called Gamer.xyz. And we did a lot of community gaming, and we worked with a lot of Twitch streamers, YouTubers, did like really large Discord servers. And one of the people we worked with was running a really big Diablo 2, which is kind of an old school game, but with hundreds of thousands of players. And then one day it was just banned. Server was turned off because 2 random people within the server like broke terms of service, and then got reported by some other guy. So just like total inconsequential interaction of like 3 people in a server got shut down. This guy came to us and was like heartbroken. He's like, "Can you help us rebuild this thing?" Because we were using our platform to grow his audience, and we just couldn't do anything. Like, he couldn't get that traction again. He couldn't rebuild it, and it just was all taken away. This like years and years of building this community. And unless you're like already a really prominent figure, you're not getting that stuff back. Like it's not big enough. And so things like that and stories like that are more common than you think they are, but they just don't happen to like these like A-list people. So you don't notice how often it happens. And so that's a lot of why decentralized social is so big, that like no single platform should own your content. Like, you should own your content. And then there should be this competition of like clients and viewership. So the most popular app right now on Farcaster is called Warpcast, which is running on the Farcaster decentralized social network, which is very much like a Twitter, Reddit clone. But there's a bunch of other clients. There's like Farcord, which is like a Discord looking client. There's all these different, apps.
Let's share one of them too, real quick.
What's that?
I'm gonna share this one just
Yeah. So So there's Warpcast, which again, it looks like a pretty standard social network, but the cool part is the data is decentralized. So anyone can build new apps on top of this, and you basically get to bring your following or your audience to any of these new apps. So like if you get like banned for Warpcast, for example, that doesn't mean you lose all your followers or you lose all your interaction. You can actually just start using a different app and everybody can still see that content. You're still the owner of all that stuff. You didn't lose your followers. You didn't lose all the content you made. And so that's one of the reasons I'm such a big believer in decentralized social. And that's a lot of why I've been really excited by Farcaster, because I think it's laying the groundwork for something that's going to be very impressive. But there is this like cold start problem with social, which is like, how do you get these things off the ground? How do you get a network that like really hits a tipping point where there's enough content being generated that it's interesting to go through here every day?
And I just want to, what I'm doing here on the screen here, I'm just highlighting also, this is Warpcast. This is how I found FarWorld and you guys, building. I joined, just trying to find alpha, just trying to find cool things to experiment with. And obviously the artwork kind of caught my eye. This is what a frame is. If you see me tweeting about it and saying frames, it's the ability to hit click a button right here, and inside it, obviously it's connected to my account, right, in my wallet. And so it's pulling up my stats right here. Crypto for Change. My FAR score is 2125. I have 75 unique farmons, and 75. Then my rank. Yeah, and my rank is 20. I know. I gotta
catch up.
Yeah. But this is kind of the idea. And then obviously, down here you'll see, I think this is a leaderboard. You can go check out, see who's like top 10. And then there's also going to be more things. And like I said, this is all within, like, imagine having Twitter, right? You're scolding Twitter, but you can actually interact and do things, this deep into, a project that you're following or a game or something like that. I don't know. I love the social aspect to it. And then, like I said, click back, go home. And then, I think this is going to be a coming soon. Yeah. Quests and battles. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll dive into that, but, tell us a little bit about Farmont and FarWorld and what you're building there.
Yeah, so this was an idea that we've had for a long time, and it's something that we've wanted to build, kind of like a next generation like Monster Collection game. That I think Monster Collection lends themselves very well to NFTs and tokens and trading, and similar to trading card games and some things. I just think certain genres of gaming lend themselves really well to crypto. And it's a genre that we think has really been dominated by one player, which is Pokemon, for a very long time. And now crypto has
30 years.
Yeah, now crypto has like Pixelmons, but we think there's a ton of innovation. And I think the way that we're really trying to innovate is the Farmon is just like the monsters you have in the game. There'll be like your Explorer, which is like you're going to be your character, which those are going to be much more kind of like World of Warcraft, Zelda. They're going to be much more like upgradable, like RPG identities than just like trainers. Farmon are really just meant to be like your companions and like your similar to Pokemon, but like I think a little bit more involved in that. But a lot of what we're trying to lean into in these first iterations is, look, we just think this is all really cool, but then I
love the art.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. It's the art's been like a really fun part, and we're actually doing my brother, who's my other co-founder, has like three young boys who are obsessed with Pokemon, and so we've been showing them all this art, and we get like the sign off from all of them every time. So it's really cool because like they'll come home from school and they'll like run up to him and be like, "Dad, can you show me like all the newest Farmons?" Like because we have like all the art in these big folders, and they just like love going through all of them and like seeing all of them, and it's really cool to see that when like they're such big Pokemon fans and like they're already coming into this. So it's like more long roadmap stuff is doing a lot more IP and pack drops and things that you're seeing like I think Pudgy Penguins do. So it's a lot of stuff that we have on the roadmap is like building like actual IPs and brands around this that exist and like target a pretty large demographic of users, not just crypto holders.
Definitely.
And then the obviously right here you're seeing a lot of the Farmons that I have. I'd be interested. One is the art. Is it hand? Is you guys have an artist who's doing it by hand? Is it AI? Influenced? Like how do you guys create the art?
Yeah, so it's using a lot of AI tools, artists, and it's like a hodgepodge of all of it. We're a small team, so we try to see how much we can do with just a handful of us, and just really try to build as much as we can without having to hire a lot of stuff. There's just so much cool AI tooling and stuff, and we're about to launch like some more additional art for this, which I'm really, really pumped about. That's coming out probably tomorrow or early next week, which is going to be like extensions of this art. But yeah, again, this is stuff that like we're trying to build like the first iterations of like a monster collection game that really appeals to like the crypto audience. And then we're trying to take that game and then really lean into the social graph and the social elements of playing these games. So that's where like Farcaster and Frames come in, where we see Frames as this unbelievable paradigm shift in distribution and discovery. And so we also think it's going to be an unbelievable way to engage in like hyper casual passive games in your feed. So like you showed before, is like when you're scrolling a feed, all of a sudden you're reading items and there's like a really cool frame that pops up, and it could be things like, oh, join this battle, go like fight this like raid boss with all my friends, or go like send your farm on to like the trainers so they can learn new abilities, or like this farm on just got done breeding, like see what just hatched, or like this new creature that was just created. Sorry, I hope you guys can't hear that. Of course, they're fucking.
No, you're right. No, trust me. My 2-year-old will probably wake up, hearing about 5 minutes or something and try and start yelling at me. But I totally get it. You're totally good.
I'll have my lawn maintenance people be out here every week, so it's all good.
It's so funny. I'm like, they're never here, and then like the one time I'm doing a show. Yeah, so it's so FarWorld is really meant to be a lot bigger than FarmOn. FarmOn's just like the introduction into this space, but we are a gaming company, and like the gaming company is actually more of a studio, where FarWorld is like our flagship IP. We really talk about ourselves like being the Zynga of Farcaster, which if you don't know the background around Zynga, which is like they basically blew up by building hyper casual games on Facebook back in the day, when Facebook used to have like this open marketplace for gaming, and they created Farmville. Basically rolled that into a $100 billion business or whatever they are now. And so we really feel like we're taking a huge bet and gamble on Farcaster because we believe in like the paradigm shift that's going to be coming. And we think frame gaming is going to be an unbelievable and a really cool way to like experience and like actually have a lot of utility around these tokens, because I think there's just not like, the reality is selling out an NFT mint is super hard, but the hardest part is still the step after, which is like, what do you do with this community now? And the communities are usually super diehard. They're really passionate. And so we're trying to always have like the most utility possible. Like we want to sell these packs and get people excited, but we also want you to immediately be able to do more stuff with it. Like we realize that just selling out the packs or getting you to hold farm on is just like step 0.01. Like everything that's cool has to come after that. Because that's a lot of what we're working on right now is like frame games. We're doing like a lot of iteration. We're a really fast team, similar to like what Apex said. We're fast builders and like we ship quickly, and I'm sure we're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way, but like I'm hoping no one who's a part of our community will ever say that like these guys aren't doing enough. Like that's not where we play.
I feel like as long as you're building, especially in a bull, I mean, the excitement of a bull market can carry a lot of projects, even if there's, downtime in between, because there's, there's so many things people are watching. If there is downtime in one spot where, a community's building, something else is popping off, then, jump over there. One thing, one question I do have, as a holder, as someone, who sees your all's project and sees potential in it, from a gaming aspect of it, what are you mirroring, or what are you trying to base, what the gaming aspect of this will look like? Is it just like almost like a Pokemon style, like, turn-based fighting? Is it more of like a exploring type, simulation? Like how will that actually look, in the frames?
So there's a lot of different ways that this game will be played. The first iteration is going to be, we want to deliver on what we believe is the expectation people had, which is like we want to deliver on this like very Pokemon-like battling but it leans much more into like what's capable within frames and how do you incorporate a social graph more effectively. So it's like, can we do things where you're battling, but like your friends get involved really quickly, or like the entire channels are getting involved, and can you incorporate like likes and recasts and comments as like ways to affect the battles? So we're trying to like lean into like how it's built. So a little alpha there, but it's like so we're trying to like lean into like why it's cool to build on a social network, which is like, you can do like the battling stuff. Maybe the battling's not as like interesting, but the way it got really interesting was like I did a battle, and then like all of our friends commented to like reduce this guy's armor, or like that's how we joined parties, or that's how we like collected more rare NFTs. And so that's like a lot of stuff that we're working on. And so the first iteration of these games are going to be very like Pokemon like and all that stuff. And but like the roadmap is very much like, here's how we get people excited. Like, it's very familiar, it's very nostalgic, and then like, how do we start branching out? And a lot of that is to create more games around the IP. So things like there's like the Pokemon inside frames, but then there's also like hyper casual like games that are going to be like more browser based games, which we're looking at things like an AI Sims game where it's like you farm on, or like basically just like a little AI simulator where they have like little personalities, and it's more just like a Sims like game where they're just like farming and doing stuff, and it's like more of a Sim style game. So that we want to like try and really push the boundary, because we want to build like a really broad IP, similar to, again, I think what Pokemon Nintendo does with a lot of it is like different style of games for different for all these different types of characters and like
every type of platform.
And just use the IP as like this like underlying connector between everything. But like, there's so many different games that you can do, and with like, again, AI tools and templates.
You know what I really want is a printout of some of those farm-ons. That's what I want. That looks like some dope posters.
Yeah, man. Are you gonna be a FarCon?
I'm gonna have to.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have something cool at FarCon. So
so FarCon, is that an event?
Yeah, they're doing
tell us about it.
Yeah, Farcaster's doing a conference that's gonna be like, I think it's technically the second one. I think the first one had like 30 people. This one's like gonna be pretty big in California, in LA.
Oh, pretty close to LA. Okay.
Yeah. So this one, I think it's gonna be really cool. There's gonna be a lot of like people, a lot of Farcaster maxis there, but a lot of games, a lot of projects, and we're gonna be trying to do like a lot of like in-person things that are for the farm on. But yeah, so we're pretty excited. We have a couple more drops planned. Like Apex said, we're building on base. We've become really close to a lot of the base team. Like Coinbase is like very supportive of FarWorld and really love a lot of the projects. And then we have a couple other projects we're working on outside of FarWorld. The arcade is the other big one on Farcaster, which is the arcade's gonna be really cool too. And this is why we talk about ourselves like being Zynga. It's like we have like flagship products. We're trying to like use those as distributions to many gamers. And so the arcade is pretty cool because it's basically like building a collection of like mini games that all are played through frames that are all like what are essentially coin operated. So these all cost like ERC20 tokens to play every single game. And so there's like built-in earning mechanisms. And then for the whales and the speculators, you can actually buy arcade machine NFTs. And so these arcade machines are basically gonna be like what holds all the games. And so as people play your games more, they earn rewards and distributions through the tokens.
Oh, wow.
So that's really, yeah.
Now I was just about to say, y'all doing it. I'm about to turn to a base maxi.
Dude, I've been building on blockchains for a long time. I've been an Ethereum guy for a super long time, and I admittedly wasn't I didn't know that much about base because I've been in gaming, and it's always been about AVAX and IMX and Ronin. But I can't tell you, building on base has been incredible, and I think they're going to have a pretty insane year. Unfortunately, there's not really a token to speculate on with base, so it's more just.
I know I think that's the interesting. I think that's the very interesting thing. You have the stock of Coinbase, but when it comes to base, it's like, what do you sit in? Outside, obviously, you can sit in USDC if you're not wanting to actively trade anything, or base ETH, and just play that. Yeah. But there's not really, that's why I think a lot of people are fading the memes on base, because I think you could see something like a Mochi, a Toshi, a base god, a Degen. I mean, obviously, we're talking about Farcaster and Warpcast. Degen is a very strong token just on that application because people are actually able to tip in Degen. So there's been tons of times I played a game, a game inside Warpcast called Pearl, where I've won a few times and won like a 30K, just by saying 30K Degen, literally that balance comes to me and I can claim it. And just like, I think that's a really neat idea. I know I'm pretty sure Warpcast is going to add the ability to where you can tip in almost anything at some point, but there is a lot happening over there.
I was watching Jack Dorsey, and they're one of the ones pushing Damis and pushing all this decentralized infrastructure. And the same thing, they're tipping in Zaps, which are like Bitcoin on the Lightning Network. Yeah. So I think definitely the future is here right now, and I can see Twitter's like more as we know, centralized. Anything could happen, ad based, and I'm seeing that users tipping each other is the next wave.
Oh, I 1000% agree with both of you. And I think it's something that, as a builder, what I saw in 2016, I went to my first Ethereum meetup in 2016, and when I saw smart contracts, I was like, this is the future. I'm so convinced of it. This is going to be what everyone's going to be building on. Now, for the next couple of years, I saw a lot of builders feel the same thing, which is like, I don't know what this means or how digital currencies will ever be worth anything, but like, this is really cool technology that I want to build on.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's made me feel that way since that moment is frames on Farcaster. And I feel like it's going to be that same thing where a lot of builders are going to be very excited to be building on this technology and then to be building on a decentralized social graph where like you have access to all the data. And I think it's just going to like slowly snowball into so many people building really cool things that like there's just going to be crazy growth at some point, even though it's growing a lot, but it's just gonna be a lot of people super excited to build there. And it's hard to bet against a product that makes building really exciting.
Yeah. And since you are, obviously a developer and you're working and you like games and you're working on obviously, FarWorld and Farmons, what right now, what's, from what I've experienced, it's mostly just clicking, right? Maybe, clicking through a prompt. I even saw one that was like, you could like I forget, Mint World, I think is what they were calling it. And it was almost like a turn-based thing where you could attack or you choose your attack. Is that like the extent of what frames are, maybe just capable of right now? Or like, what do you see, maybe 6 months, 8 months down the road being able to do with frames? Like, give us a little bit of like, I don't know, from your mind, not, my mind, I feel like I can only, sometimes comprehend what I see and what I do, but you might, since you're in it, to guess a little further.
Yeah. So frames, for people who don't know, like a frame is basically like a little mini app that is programmable, like you demoed before, but like they did like a brilliant job giving it like very good constraints. And, constraints you think is being a limitation, but it actually is a way to like breed creativity. It's like, okay, I only have, and then so frame can only be a handful of things. It returns an image, up to 4 buttons and an input. So that's all you have to work with is like, someone's going to make a request to my app and I have to send them back an image, up to 4 buttons, and then potentially an input. And then based on them clicking or interacting with those things, it'll come back to my server and then I can send them a new image and new buttons. And so that's how like a lot of our stuff works, is like when you click for the pack reveals, for example, it's basically like, we know you clicked the next button, so we'll render you the image of the next Pokemon that was in or Farmon that was in that pack. And we'd go through like the list like that. And so they're super constrained. And I think it's actually a very good thing, because you're actually trying to like push the boundaries of like, what can you do with this like really simple framework? And so right now it's super limited when that's all there is. And so you're trying to do like these creative things. Then that's why we're also trying to leverage like comments, likes, and things like that, like these other pieces of data that you could incorporate back into the frame. But so I think like the next logical iterations, and the thing that is dropping tomorrow or potentially on Monday, is transactions and frames. And so you'll be able to actually call mint and do things. So like for our packs, like opening packs, you had to go to our site to open them, to sign transactions and mint things. Now you can do that within frames. You can just say, open my pack. You'll sign the transaction, do everything like you normally do. And then you never even had to leave Warpcast, which is unbelievable. Yeah. And so transactions and just doing stuff through smart contracts is going to be a really big next step. And then I think the next things are like potentially returning to video will be another big step.
Yeah. So, I mean, even in just looking at, what you guys are creating with Farmons, it'd almost be like, it could start off with an adventure being, you're at a home and you can choose, hey, do you want to go down this path or do you want to go down this path? Based on which path you see, then maybe the image comes back, you're facing a monster. You have to fight that monster. You have 4 options, kind of like almost like a simulation, but turn-based style thing is how I could maybe envision, what you guys are doing there.
You're getting there.
I will say the one thing that makes me wonder, how you guys are going to do it is with the, with the artwork so detailed, but then, trying to do, like you said, guys said that, like a Pokemon turn-based, are you guys going to like pixelate the Farmons or into the game, into the frame, or are you going to try to keep them looking more, 3D roundish and more like full, or are you going to try to, kind of, like I said, break them down into more like, 24, 8-bit, pixelated style.
Yeah. So that's again, this will be an iterative process where, again, like I said, we're a small team, but we'll get there. But it's, that's the plan for all the Farmon, is to be this is something that we've wanted to do with other NFT collections we've done in the past too, which is like, your art style is like a trait that can be changed, similar to like anything else, where like these Farmon are like, here's like a 16-bit version of Scorch, and here's like the 32-bit, and then here's like the 3D hyper realistic one. We're a huge fan of that stuff, and like with AI tools, it gets easier and easier to do that stuff on the fly. And so we want our games to reflect the thing that is being played in. And so I think the 16-bit Pokemon is really what we're going for first. But we want to do, like, we're looking at like, we're talking to like Unreal Engine developers and templates where it's like, you're talking about like more of like a PAL world where it's like, these are like the 3D badass kind of looking things, and it's a 3D game versus like, this is a 2D frame thing. So yeah, it's one step at a time, but we want the art to span all these different types of styles, because we think that just builds a really cool IP where it's like, oh, now they're like an anime style, or now they're like, these 3D world objects. So that's all the stuff that we're working on.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and obviously, as someone who's a huge fan of Pokemon, I literally just beat Pokemon Legends Arceus. I got a Nintendo Switch not too long ago, so that was the first time experiencing Pokemon in an open world. Because I'm not playing any of the other ones, and the 3D real, you're sitting there versing, Dialga and Palkia, and it's just like a full-on 3D, image instead of it just being the little 2D thing. And so, yeah, it's definitely exciting. And is there anything, I guess, else that we've maybe not touched on when it comes to FarWorld, Farmons, that you want to highlight that you guys are excited about here, here in the coming weeks, months? I know you guys just sold out. You sold out your first pack pretty quick, and then you sold out the Molten Abyss pack line. I think it was 1,000 packs there in like 40 minutes. I don't even know, it was under an hour. What do you guys have planned, or maybe what have we not touched on?
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. I mean, the first pack, we wanted to see if we could create like a little bit of a narrative and see if we could get people excited, and that ended up selling out like in like 18 hours or something.
Oh, wow.
We ended up selling out like an achievement, which was like a free Zora mint. So I don't know if you are supposed to call them free, but like it costs the gas, but like it's kind of free. I don't know. So we sold out one of those. Yeah. So we sold out one of those as well, and then our last pack drop, the Molten Abyss one, sold out in like 20 minutes, which was pretty cool. And to be fair, and with that one in particular, like we didn't actually do as much as we really wanted to sell more. I think the biggest thing we're learning from that one is like, it just was, we want to sell out the mint, but more than anything, we want every single person who wants a pack to get a pack, and we want like a better distribution. And so that's like the next things we're working on, is we're actually working. So like I said earlier, we were working really close with the base team to be featured on Coinbase and a lot of this stuff for these next pack drops. So the next pack drop that we'll be doing is really going to be trying to go a lot wider. So probably more packs, but like we're trying to get them as like many hands as possible to really start growing the community. Because we have a bunch of like really great diehard community already. And like, I can't tell you how cool it feels as a founder and a builder to see people spinning up, group chats and like trading and doing all this stuff that just, it feels so cool. And then like someone just sent me like an article that they wrote about us the other day, and then getting invited to shows like this. It really does feel like a dream come true as a builder to like build something that people resonates with a lot of people and they're really excited about. And so we're trying to just continue to build that in a way that feels sustainable and, is true to like what people want. And we're really trying to avoid the hype floor price. Like that's something you'll never hear me and my brother talk about. Like we'll never talk about the floor price of the collections. Yeah. I think that is a driver of like, the floor price will be just a direct relationship to how successful we are, but it's not something we want to talk about. We're not trying to talk about like, here's the our floor 5x overnight. Like get the fuck
and
in
when
here.
It looks to when it comes to collecting stuff, obviously you don't to an extent you don't want it to moon too fast, too early, because 100%. Then it prices out so many people being actually able to. I mean, I think I look back to stuff like Decentraland and whatnot when they were getting started. It's like by the time I heard about Decentraland and joined it, I'd go in there and something in there was going to cost me like $7,000 in mana, and I'm like, I don't, I didn't buy, I didn't buy mana when it was, sub a penny. I'm looking at mana when it's $2. I'm not gonna, there's no way I'm going to drop in $7,000 on this. So,
it's like, I don't like, it's one of those things where it's like, if I understand why people like it, it's like, it's a nice narrative to have like this giant floor price and all this stuff. And like, I think it, it strokes the ego if you're a builder, but like, It's not what we're going for. We're going for like a large gaming IP that has a lot of people. There'll be a chance to like collect farm on, and there's a chance that like you'll get to be a part of this really cool game, and you get the benefit of owning your collections, which is like certain farm on are going to be worth a lot more, and we're trying to build that incorporate into the game mechanics. Where like if you're very dedicated and level these things up, and like they have special abilities and collected rare items, like those things are going to be worth a lot more. And it's something that like I really loved when I played like World of Warcraft back in the day. Is against terms of service, but like selling characters when I was like a high schooler to guys who had a lot of money was a great thing. And like, it was cool to do that. And it's something that's like, you know, World of Warcraft wasn't concerned about, you know, their top characters or Thunder Furies being worth $1,000. They were concerned about it being a really fun game. And by consequence, those things were worth something. And so that's always gonna be our motive. We're trying to use these technologies to build a great community, to build a great game. And hopefully people who are speculating and interested in NFTs can be rewarded because it is a great product and not because there was a hype cycle and things mooned and they got to, you know, have some exit liquidity. So that's really what we're trying to avoid.
For sure. And obviously to everybody who is, you know, still watching the stream, I know it's been a little bit longer one than we normally done with having 2 guests, but be sure, like I say, if you've not yet and you're in the Algorand ecosystem, set up an account on Warpcast, get on that social media app. It's a lot of fun. Head on over to the channel, which is FarWorld. And you like, it's easy. You can just search up here. Make sure you guys give these guys a follow and, you know, check out what they're dropping. Like I said, and the cool thing with these, you can actually, I thought it was interesting. You can actually follow along with other people opening their pack. So when they do open a pack, they can cast it. And like I said, this is how the frames work. You could just hit open pack and you can actually just click through and see, you know, what someone was able to get. And it, you know, says if it's a mythic or a common, you know, and kind of just play along with them. So it's a, you know, really, really neat idea. I love what you guys are building, and, you know, best of luck to you guys as you continue to build, you know, build on base. And obviously, you know, I'll be there watching from the sidelines, collecting my farm-ons.
I love it, man. Yeah. Do you guys want to, more than happy to give you guys a couple packs if you want to do a giveaway.
We can for sure.
We'll do a pack from each set. So we have the Whispering Wilds, and then we have a Molten Abyss. So I can send you guys one of each.
Yeah, sure. Should we get a tweet out or run another?
Whatever you guys want to do. I just want to support your community. So whatever you guys would like to do.
You know, we'll make sure we get a little bit broad of our community because, like I say, it is an hour and 12 minutes in, so some people may have had to check out. So we'll drop a tweet and we'll do a giveaway with you guys after it. Cool. So yeah, I'll DM you my wallet address and we'll get that set up. But Charlie, thanks so much for joining the show, and obviously we'll have to have you back on in the future as well to see where FarWorld is, where farm-ons are, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Cool. So we're going to pull you off the screen and make our last announcements and exit. But once again, thank you.
Of course. Thanks, guys.
All right. So
explosive awesome show. Yeah. Great show for base. Obviously, if you've not already, you need to be on base. You need to be on Warpcast. You need to be searching out this alpha that is out there because Coinbase is going to pump the hell. I mean, you kind of heard some alpha there too with the fact that with their next pack, they're going to be trying to partner with Base and the team behind Base to get more people in. So, I mean, I don't know. I see that as alpha. You know, if more people are going to be coming in, then they're going to be missing. They've already missed out on the first 2 packs. So, you know, obviously you got a shot to win some packs. Make sure you're following our socials, and you know, make sure you're giving both OnChainDinos and FarWorld a follow on socials as well as you know, in their respective communities, whether it be Discord and stuff like that. So
one more for us over here, and if you are on the base, make sure that you check out this again one more time. We're doing a giveaway for Lofty AI. This is real world assets, tokenized real estate. Make sure that you go earn you some passive income right there. All right. Sure. So we have another show coming up next week with Sean Ford and Cardano. So make sure that y'all tap in, and we appreciate you all for showing up today.
Yep. See everybody.
See y'all.